He was banned from where? Wait, where was he banned? There's no way he got banned from Twitch. Oh, wait, he did get banned.
Yeah.
This is insane. Wait, why did he get banned? Is it really because of the cracker stuff? That's silly. That seems interesting.
I know.
Hold on. Why can't I really hear this guy?
It hurts your feelings most likely, okay? And
wait, is this because he did this on stream? Or something? Maybe? Okay. Stupid.
sometimes it can be misappropriated or misused, but ultimately it's not the same as a hateful, bigoted slur. That's the whole point. Hateful, bigoted slurs without historic or contemporary oppression are just meanie bobini words, okay? They're making you feel bad. Is my VOD gone again? Dude, this is the second day in
I mean, like, yeah, listen, like, obviously, I don't think that's a hot take, obviously. Like, there's no historical oppression behind the word cracker. But, like, it's a kind of, I guess, a perception thing. Like, yeah, calling a white person a cracker is nowhere near the same as calling any other group anything. Like, F slur for, you know, gay people or the LGBTQ community, or N word for the black community, or the S slur for the Hispanic community, or the S slur for the indigenous community. It really... like really, if you can probably legitimately sit here and weigh the different social impacts of these different words from society. A lot of it, there absolutely is an aspect of historical nature there, but there's also an aspect of people just trying to upset people. So, like, most white people wouldn't be upset being called a cracker. I'm not. I just think it's dumb, and I wouldn't engage with you as a person anymore. And you know, I'm white, so I could just walk away. Whereas, you know, somebody using a bigoted slur towards a person of color or a BIPOC person, they may not be able to walk away. It might be some white dude at a job, and like, which I've seen that shit before, bro. You know, you got white people at a job, and like they'll do shitty things. Like I talk about it one time. There, a mechanic, a young woman walked in, a Hispanic woman. Well, she wasn't young; she was older than me, like 30 or 40. She wanted a job. She wanted to drop her resume off, gave it to the not the foreman, like the guy covering for the foreman, and he took it and then he just threw in the garbage, you know, because she didn't bring it to the right place, so it's not his job. Like, all you had to do is walk to the fucking front. So, like, yeah, I get that, but at the end of the day, like, if you're saying something to intentionally hurt somebody, like, okay, like, yeah, it's not a good thing to say. You shouldn't say it. It's not the same, but you shouldn't say it. Yeah, don't say cracker, I guess, you know. I mean, like, we're supposed to be treating everybody the same. We don't have to be hateful, you know? You know what I'm saying? Like, just because it's not as bad to piss on a wall than shit on a wall doesn't mean you should piss on the wall. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's both of it. They're not good. So, but there you go.
in a row where Twitch is just taking down my VOD. What is happening? I'm getting...
Okay, read description for full backstory. I think I can read today a little bit. I feel okay. This is it. While Hasan was watching an episode of MasterChef, a character named Max was being an a-hole, and a few of the moderators in the chat called him the C word, cracker. Soon after, Twitch deleted the VOD of the stream, which started a conversation in the following stream about the use of the word and requesting the mods get unbanned. The VOD was also deleted by Twitch, and thus continuing conversation about what anti-white racism really is and why it doesn't actually exist. Okay, well, that's just wrong. And what you can be racist towards white people. You know, we have here's the thing, okay? I don't want to get the huge conversation about this. You can be racist towards white people individually. Systemically, obviously, in America, I really can't do that. I mean, there might be a space in America where black people have control and could be systemically oppressive to a white person. Like, if it's a black community and all black, it's like 1% white, and then the white guy has to deal with, like, racism and, like, or he'll get fired. I don't know, whatever. But, like, generally, you can't get... you can't be individually racist or systemically racist towards white people. You can be individually. Thank you so much for the sub.
Just subscribed.
Obviously, people, if you look at the definition of racism, it's changing. Why is there an E there? Okay. Prejudice, discrimination, or antagonism by an individual, community, or institution against a person or people on the basis of their membership of a particular racial or ethnic group, right? Which means anybody can be racist towards anybody. They add typically one that is minority or marginalized, right? White people aren't typically, but typically doesn't mean always. So it doesn't mean that you can't be racist toward white people, even by our current definition. I understand people want to change it, power, prejudice, et cetera, et cetera. I disagree with you. It's a social construct, and I believe that this is a better way to maintain our society. But even with that, you would still be able to be prejudiced towards white people. So like, it's still not a good thing. I feel like we're going like so far and saying you can't be racist towards white people. You're doing it just to justify hatred towards white people. Like that's unfortunately, like if you had a lot of like really good faith individuals a lot of anthropologists or sociologists that were like, hey, listen, from like a societal perspective, you can't be systemically racist, because that's what they do. They compound systemic racism and individual racism into one definition. And they were saying it just as a point of education. I would be fine with the definition, but you have a lot of people who like to be like prejudiced by the definition to white people. And then when people say, hey, that's rude, you're being racist, they'll be like, oh, no, you can't be racist, just prejudice. But you're still being antagonistic, you're still being prejudiced, you're still being bad. Right, so that's a big reason why I don't embrace that. Anyway, let's just get into this video. We did a lot of presets.
Increasingly more annoyed with the way that Twitch is operating, and they are, of course, notorious for not communicating exactly what's going on. Some people tried appealing their ban for the C word, and they got denied because since they have no tolerance for racism. Yeah, no, that
I mean, I guess, hey, listen, at least Twitch is treating everybody equally.
makes sense. That's totally chill. They have like absolutely yeeted like half my audience off the platform, so that's cool. I don't know what like Twitch's goal is, right? It wasn't an auto ban until the MasterChef Max incident, which is telling that some Twitch admins are going nuts right now because of it. Yeah, I think that's what's going on. I think internally there's a conflict where should we ban Cracker? Should we not? You know what I mean? What is it?
They probably should just ban the word. Like, yeah, that makes sense.
Deal? Are we caving to the interests and demands of people who would otherwise use every other slur known to man? Why?
This is where we get very dishonest. Are we going to cave to the interests of people who would use every other slur? Well, no other slurs allowed on Twitch. I don't, or they shouldn't be. I'm a little confused. It just doesn't really make any sense to me, because now he's just saying that, like,
caving to the interests and demands of people who would otherwise use every other slur known to man.
Like caving into the interests of white people. I don't understand. Like, no other slur is acceptable to say. Why not make this slur acceptable? Like, what's his argument? It's like, well, those people would use the N-word. Maybe, but it's a banned on Twitch. I would hope so. I would imagine calling someone the N-word is banned on Twitch. So, like, it doesn't even make... What are you talking about? His whole thing is, like, we shouldn't get rid of Cracker because some white people did a bad thing a long time ago. That's kind of... Or white people did a bad thing a long time ago. Let's not even say some. And now we can't, like, evolve and be hatred towards none. We have to make sure we still maintain hatred towards white people. I guess out of some, like, because this is the good group to hate. I don't really understand. I hate that I'm in a spot where I'm like, hey, stop being racist towards white people. Woe is me, right? Like, it's so fucking dumb that we're even having this conversation, and you're putting me in the position where I have to be like, hey, that is technically mean to whites. And it's like, I don't want to be there. It's fucking dumb that I'm even here defending. This whole thing was dumb. I talked about it the other day with this whole Cracker shit, and I was like, this is fucking dumb. I'm not gonna upload a video on YouTube about it. This is such stupid bullshit. This is like nothingness. This is stuff that people with nothing better to do would like sit down and centralize their content about. I'm assuming, I guess that's Hasan. I guess he was so enamored with this topic that he pushed himself to the point of being banned, and now he's like upset.
Why does it feel so targeted like this? Is this happening on other streamers? No shot. No shot. I hate being in limbo like this. Like,
well, he's supposed to set an example for people. You know, be the change you want to see. Am I right? Not that Hasan understands that, because, you know, rich, but
like, if you're gonna ban me. Just don't not ban me and like keep deleting my VODs.
Which Hasan has been banned.
It's also annoying because Twitch is taking a cowardly position where they don't want to openly come out and be like, anti-white racism is unacceptable on this platform, and that's precisely why we are banning the usage of the term cracker.
Well, but Hasan's already criticizing that. So his next move would be like, oh, see, you can't be anti-white racism, you can't be racist towards white people. He already said that in here in the description. Right? Soon after Twitch. Anti-white racism. This also continuing the conversation about how anti-white racism really what it really is and why it doesn't exist. So like if they said that, he would just have more content to be like, oh, you can't actually do that. So like he's really just upset that he doesn't get to virtue signal over the topic and he got banned instead.
Because they know that they would get fucking clowned on by like 99% of media that isn't like predominantly fucking focused on random weirdos that spend all of their time in their mother's basement talking about the fucking ethics of being able to use the C word versus, you know, how they should also be able to say the N word as well. And that's
This is so weird. Like, why not just say none of the words? You're the kind of the one that's engaging in the conversation more than anything else.
Precisely why I don't think they have made like a serious decision yet. And that's precisely why they're fucking waiting on trying to figure out what to do with this. Okay. And that's what's currently happening. It's the dumbest fucking drama, but it's like, take a stance, dude. I know this is a complex or complicated situation, a complicated issue.
Not really. Just don't be hateful. Don't say it. Hey, it's not as bad as the N word, but it's still bad. Yay.
But you didn't have a problem fucking yeeting incel and simp immediately when you came out of the gate swinging and you were like, we're going to make sure that people can't be called incel or simp anymore. And it was like, who are you protecting in that situation? That's so silly. You're being ridiculous. Okay. And they stopped it. And they never banned anyone for that. And now it's like a similar situation with Cracker is occurring and they're like trying to fucking figure this shit out. It's like, I want to move on. Okay. I want to move on. It's so stupid.
I mean, I'm okay with it. Okay with them getting a little slap on the wrist.
I don't care. It's just make a decision, okay?
Well, Hasan looks white, but he wouldn't really identify as white since he's from, like, I don't really know what country. I think like a Middle Eastern country. Not super geography intelligent, but yeah, he doesn't, like, I know that he looks white passing and whatnot, but he wouldn't, Turkish, thank you. He's from Turkey, yeah. So he wouldn't really be like, I identify as white. Like color, yeah, sure. But, like he wouldn't be really considered white. If that makes sense.
Like, I'm not married to being able to say Cracker, okay? I've never fucking used the term until my moderators randomly started getting clapped. Incredibly fucking ridiculous situation. Like, they're writing Cracker in the chat and they get fucking banned in a matter of minutes. Go to any fucking stream, go to any other stream, and you see people, not only the content creators are saying the R word, but also people are spamming it. They're not getting fucking banned. Same with like a number of different, way worse even, spam that goes on, including Cracker too. And I'm not saying this to like ban all of those people that say the R word, or I'm not, because I have fucking used it in the past as well, at least slipped out. But like, I'm not saying enforce that on them as well. I'm simply stating that it's ridiculous to straight up fucking ban people for their usage of Cracker in one chat because some staff members happen to be there versus other chats where you can fucking totally write it. And when I say consistency, when I say I want,
I mean, like, it's consistent. It's you would consider that some kind of racial slur, and you just don't say it anymore.
Consistency. On top of that, don't want you to ban people for saying Cracker or whatever. Okay, there are chats who say the soft N word, and Twitch allows that. Yeah, but I don't want people to get fucking banned for that either.
Yeah, I don't like that in my chat. But usually it's like black people saying it and like other like black streams, like whatever. I don't care about that. But we know we're not talking about the N word with an A, bro. So
unless they are like very clearly a white streamer saying it, okay? But there are.
Why does he say what does he mean by slipped out? I'm assuming he's talking about the R slur he would use on the ableist R slur, because it's a pro gamer word that people use. Like that's what it is, I guess.
Chats with, what are you gonna do? Fucking clap DJ Academics' chat, which is white as fuck already as is. Like, what do you want to like actively purge black content creators from the platform? That sucks. Don't do that. Can we please stop talking about this, bro? People literally forget about it in 2 weeks. Nobody worth their mind was seriously offended by the word.
7 months of listening.
We've moved on from like people being offended at the word. Are you fucking too stupid to understand the word?
He's really upset, man. He got banned and he's very upset about it.
Words that are coming out of my mouth. This is now beyond that. This is more so not a fucking appropriate application of the TOS from my assessment. And 2, constantly putting my VODs under 1, straight up fucking geolock hell. And then also yeeting them for the past 2 days. Just fucking ban me and get it over with if that's the case. You know what I mean? It's really frustrating. And
he wants out of that contract bad now. I don't think he can stream on another platform because he has the exclusivity contract. How funny is that? Well, it's you, brother.
You're too much of a fucking idiot to understand that I'm no longer talking about people fake being mad about the usage of the term Cracker, idiot. That's not what I'm talking about. I don't give a shit. Obviously, you know where I stand on this. You know where.
Why does he get worked up over everything? I don't think he understands how to take criticism because kind of grew up with like a silver spoon in his mouth. That's pretty much it. I think that's pretty much it.
I've stood on that as well. I just want to know. I want to know what the fuck is going on. I've literally been a fucking advocate for the terms of service since day one. As much as I've been I've been on the receiving end of like what I would consider to be inappropriate bans. Okay, I've been an advocate for that same terms of service in the media. I've talked to other fucking media figures whenever they ask me about Twitch, why I like Twitch. It's literally because they have a rigorous application of their terms of service. And as someone who has literally stood by that, despite the fact that like there is inconsistencies and despite the fact that I do understand that the moderation team's job is an incredibly difficult one, it is deeply frustrating to do this. It's deeply frustrating to just like fucking
unprofessional. You got speaking highly of the Twitch overlord, baby.
Leave me hanging. Rigorous application copium. You know what I mean, Mr. Mooten. Rigorous application in comparison to every other platform. Transphobia, homophobia, bigotry, anti-black racism. Okay, shit like that is usually clapped off the platform, especially if it's a partner that's engaging in it. What happens to me at this?
Yeah, it's a good thing, no? So I guess now they're doing the same thing with anti-white racism.
Level happens 20-fold the much smaller content creators, especially because if you want more people like myself, more people who are progressive, who advocate for progressive values, who fight for fucking working class people all around the world, who are anti-imperialist, who advocate.
I don't know if I would say. Listen, I'm not for nothing. I don't really know that Hasan is somebody I would consider an advocate for. I think Hasan thinks he's an advocate for working class people around the world. I'm just gonna let you know most working class people don't really give a shit about what this guy has to say, and they know that he doesn't represent them in any true capacity. I'm for unions and shit. I just feel like, have you ever met a working class guy? Most blue collar guys, wouldn't be a huge fan of you. You're not a particularly big representation of them or representative of them. A lot of young kids that haven't really worked. I guess you could consider those people working class. I guess when I think of working class, I think of like more established working class individuals who don't really have time for like the computer, because I've been there before. So I don't know. Maybe I'm just wrong. Usually working class people respect other people that have been in like their situation though. So
for these sorts of things. If you want those people to exist on this platform, some of you may not, then not having a better understanding of like the intricacies and not having a decent approach to like white supremacist backed movements or falling into antiquated white supremacist agitprop like white fragility, that's terrible. It's like it's a silly thing to do. And it also most likely makes the space feel less open to black people existing in it and brown people existing in it. To play devil's advocate though, wouldn't the N-bomb be black fragility? No, because I think you understand that the N-word and cracker are not of similar magnitude.
Oh, well, that's kind of like I understand that the N-word has like a lot more loading in it, but like, well, you can't just call everything white fragility just because it upsets white people, because now you're just invalidating like just individual people's feelings. Like, I get it. There's no historical context there. I do get it, but like when you just listen, not for nothing, but there is like a lot of there's a bizarre obsession with hating white people on the internet. I don't really care because I just nay on all the POCs. You know what I'm saying? No, but but I'm also like a well-to-do white guy, so you can't fucking hurt me. What are those like poor fucking white guys that are just like working their dicks off all day? They jump on Twitter to look at like porn, and then all of a sudden they see some fucking person saying, "Kill whitey, they should all die. They're the reason for my problems." But it's just some fucking white dude who grew up in like fucking, even like maybe an all white area. He's never met a black person. He's just fucking working. He's like Reba. He's a single dad. He's working 2 jobs. He loves his kids and he never stops. And he gets on Twitter to jerk off to some fucking porn, and then all of a sudden he's seeing kill this fucking white guy that didn't do anything wrong. You know what I'm saying? So like, I don't know if I call it white fragility. Everybody grows up in a different environment. So I get, like, I feel like it's just it's a cop out to say white fragility for every time a white person complains about it. You know what I mean? That's all I'm saying. Like, some people do look Kyle Rittenhouse looks at Twitter for porn. The fuck are you talking about?
Now, the reason why you don't say the N-word out loud, I hope, versus the reason why you can easily type cracker in most circumstances is because that is a legitimate grievance. That has historical context associated with it. Whereas with cracker, the historical context associated with it means racist white person in its most reductive capacity, okay? It's like calling someone a fucking Nazi. Do you understand?
But that's also still bad. Like, nobody wants to be called a racist person. Calling someone racist is a pretty loaded word now. Like, a lot of times too, like, you could just call like, listen, not for nothing, and you guys can shit on me if you want. Everybody's calling Kyle Rittenhouse racist, like, which was you're being very dishonest. Like, I think it was ridiculous that he was there in the first place, et cetera, but like, he's not a racist. And like, but it doesn't matter anymore. As long as you can connect it to something that disagrees with some general movement, it's racist. And like, you can call everybody racist and everybody's racist, et cetera, et cetera. So like, yeah, it's not good to be called. Why would you want to be called racist? So, like, some people be like, yeah, cracker, I love being racist, is because now you're literally saying you would prefer white people to be okay with being called a racist. It doesn't make sense. Wouldn't you want white people to get offended by being racist? So wouldn't that be, I don't know. It's just silly.
I don't, but I also think that the platform shouldn't be deciding that. You don't think the platform should be deciding that like one type of fucking conversation? They are deciding it. When the platform takes a stance on the word cracker, they are deciding that. They're saying cracker is maybe not as bad as the N-word, but still racially targeted. It's racial.
Yeah, okay, that's good. Yeah, I agree with that. That sums up how I feel. Not as bad, still racially motivated. Shouldn't say it. Okay.
Racially targeted, and it should not exist, and it doesn't matter. I'm probably going to get banned, by the way, for the record. Like, I'm most likely going to get
Probably not,
get
but-
banned off the platform. I don't know for how long. I don't know what happens, but there's 0% chance. Twitch watches LSF. Twitch sees what's going on in LSF. They have no way of like accurately assessing it. They have no way of recognizing that if I do get banned for fucking utilizing the term cracker or advocating that cracker is not as fucking severe as a sentiment or as a slur or a pejorative to the tune of the N-word, that will most likely cause a fucking media outrage.
No, but it's not going to cause a media outrage, and you know that that's not the truth. That's the problem. Is like what the fun. So we agree on the fundamentals of like it's not as bad. The cracker isn't as bad as the N-word. The difference here is that like most people would be like, okay, I understand why they would want to just get rid of it. It makes sense. Hasan's actually defending the existence and usage of the word in general. Like that's the thing is, and he's because then he would sit here and be like, okay, it's not as bad, but I got banned. I get it. They're just trying to like get rid of all racism. Okay. Or prejudice, whatever. What he wants to be able to do is say, it's not as bad, so you should still be able to use it. That's what it is.
Far greater than the LSF weirdos fucking freaking out over it. So this one's one that I am very adamant about. And no, I don't think I will. I don't think I will garner the support of most people on a platform that is predominantly white, especially when it's like white fragility is the one fucking aspect that is impossible to shake. And
it's very weird to me that like he'll live and die on the word cracker. That's bizarre to me. Like that's where so here, because we've been hearing that it was okay for Hasan to take the exclusivity deal with Twitch, even though he calls it a morally like it's a subsidiary of Amazon, which he calls a morally bankrupted, industry. Rather than, for instance, streaming on Twitch and then another platform to pull viewers away and pull donations away from that platform, which would make more sense because then you would be using your money as a tool to protest. But it's because he could spread the message better on Twitch, right? That was what it is. It's like, no, well, if he does this on Twitch, he can spread the message. He'll be more popular. But he'll let the message die over the desperation to be prejudiced or racist or mean to white people. So how much do your morals mean? How much does your advocacy for the middle class mean if you're willing to let it die because you want to hate white people? That sounds pathetic to me. Like, that's kind of stupid. Like, why? Like, I mean, it's totally chill if you want to be mean to whitey so much that you'll let your message of being a working class advocate die. But like, why? It's a little bit weird, bro. I don't know. I mean, I'm happy I don't have that kind of hatred in my heart, honestly. So
it's an important one, I think, to address, and it's an important one for people to shake. I already hate myself as a person. I guess I can hate myself for being white also. Dude, you should not hate yourself for being white. It's fucking mind-boggling that that's what you think about this. Like that.
No, but that's the thing is like a lot of people are getting that message from what he's saying. He's like, "What? Are you fucking idiot? That's not what I mean." I'm just saying that white people's feelings are just white fragility, no matter. You shouldn't hate yourself though. It's like, shut the fuck up, son. Like, you're just being dumb. Like,
that's your point of view on this.
This is incredible mental gymnastics.
Especially considering the fact that I myself am white. What do I always tell
Papa? Should they ban redneck or hogs as well, since they're considered slurs? I feel like rednecks. I think that they've successfully. I don't know what hog is. I've never heard that. I think redneck. We've successfully we've reclaimed that. It's a point of privilege, honestly. If you get called like a lot of rednecks, you call them a redneck. Yeah, I am, brother. Yeah, I am. You can find. When I went to Pennsylvania, you could find things that say like proud redneck. So like that's successful. That's not a slur anymore. That's just you. You're just you're letting me lay on my tummy. I mean on my back and jerking me off like a dog at this point.
You like a lot of the performative allyship that like white people engage in when they fucking clean black people's shoes and they like fucking recreate like slavery moments where they chain themselves, and a lot of that stuff is fucking psychotic and comes from a place of like weirdo white guilt.
Yeah, and so now like he's like, I'm not being weird because like look at these really exaggerated versions of white saviorism are bad, so I must not, you know what I'm saying, I don't support those, so that means I don't think you should hate yourself as a white person. But
you should not feel that at all. There's a difference between
redneck's not considered a white slur. I'm letting you know, like we don't think it's a white slur. We've reclaimed it. That's what I'm saying. I'm a redneck. You know? I'm a redneck. Honey, we gotta get our guns. You know what I mean? Like, I'm a redneck. I'm gonna go chew some tobacco. I'm not gonna brush my teeth. You know? You know, it's so funny. Yesterday I was talking to my wife, and like her hair was in a weird way where it looked like she had a mullet. And I was like, you could be a fucking southern, like a mullet, like Big Bertha, like fucking mullet. You know, with a kid hanging from her titty, and I could be like a Cletus, you know, if we were born in the South and we weren't educated. It's crazy how the world can really turn.
that and acting like you are traumatized by a fucking term that has no.
Bro, I don't know what to tell you, brother. You keep saying it's a slur to say redneck. I'm telling you, bro, we love it. We love it. Okay? You're just living in an alternative universe, I guess. Yeah. Wait, what? What did you say? People are pissed off because people hear the words racial and start shitting on black people, even the black people weren't involved. Who's talking about black people in the chat, like saying racist shit? What are you talking about? What are you talking about, brother? Anyway.
Historical context with like you being dehumanized.
You love redneck but crackers crossing the line? Sure, I guess. I don't really care about cracker, but like if nobody's offended by redneck, people are offended by cracker. So people, there you go. There you go.
Okay, it is in its essence no different than Karen. It is in its essence no different than honky, redneck, hillbilly, and numerous other fucking.
Yeah, but no, because like honky, redneck, hillbilly, like I'm just being like we think it's fun, like it's or not even we because I'm not Southern, but it's not really a slur because like honky, like that's just a goofy thing. That's goofy fun, you know. Like I heard some black people call white people honkies, but it was always in like a fun context. It's like you honky, you know what I mean? Silly shit. Redneck, you know, whatever, like not really the same thing. It really is about the perception of the word. Nobody uses those words to be hateful because people don't like, you know, that's just been reclaimed already. But the word cracker hasn't, I guess, and that's the bad one. That's pretty much it.
In terms that have been created to describe a certain type of behavior that white people engage in. You're really going to die on this hill that it's okay to be racist towards whites? It's not a real fucking concept. What you're describing is not a real concept, okay?
What?
You're really going to die on this hill that it's okay to be racist towards whites? It's not a real fucking concept. What you're describing is not a real concept, okay? This idea that like I'm being racist towards whites, especially as a fucking white person, especially as someone who advocates for the rights of everyone, which also includes white people, is a fucking ridiculous thing.
This is the thing is, so he advocates for the rights of everybody when like race is removed, and like yeah, well now we're talking about like very simply just. Stop using the word cracker. I guess it's so dumb.
Everyone disagrees with you, KEKW, is also not true. For the most part, this is one of those age-old fucking issues where it is the updated version of like, oh, you can't call someone a racist. That's worse than the fucking racism. Or it's one of those fucking super old-school internet arguments that are basically the continuation of like, why can't I say the N-word as a white person? It's a conviction that I
not really the same thing. Saying I don't want to be called a cracker isn't the same thing as I want to say the N-word.
have. Even if you're right, this just fosters division and toxicity. Everything I talk about fosters division and toxicity. You just happen to disagree with this one. I don't know why you can't recognize that. I talk about healthcare being a fucking human right and that fosters division and toxicity. I talk about racism without like actual historical or contemporary oppression is just being fucking mean, okay? Discrimination without any sort of like systemic consequence is just
I'm just trying to figure this out. I've never met anybody who's offended by cracker. Okay, like I'll explain one more time. So like I'm not offended by the word either. Here's the thing, okay? Okay, I'll explain to you why this is like all happening. I'll give you like my best on make you guys understand like what's happening and why this is probably a conversation in the first place, okay? So I hope you guys are listening to this conversation right now. This is the most important part that you're going to want to listen to if you're confused as to why people are upset by being called the C word as a white person, okay? Okay, I'm being 100% serious. Are you ready? Okay. So for like, let's say like the last probably 5 years, there's been a desperate ploy from a very small community of people on the internet to hate white people for everything. Okay. It's never been super widespread, probably more than 5 years. Never super widespread, not like an issue in the past. Those very toxic Twitter children are slowly winning the conversation where everything is becoming like fuck white people, fuck white people, fuck white people. White people are responsible for everything their ancestors did, and they're eternally racist forever. And it's if you're not 100% educated on systemic racism, you're a racist white piece of shit, and you're never a good person. That narrative is like very real, and it's growing, right? And so like it's still on the internet, but it's slowly leaking into society now. Like we're having whole conversations about this shit, and some of them are not good. Like, really, I mean, the Kyle Rittenhouse thing was ridiculous. Like, I get you can disagree with it. White people shot other white people, and it was racism and white supremacy. And we don't know what words mean anymore, and it's just the existing is being white now. It's socially acceptable to, like, hate white people. You see all day. It's becoming more prevalent, right? And so, like, that's being funneled into the word cracker, right? So they'll call people everything. Redneck didn't work. We love it. Honky didn't work. We love it. I guess we skipped through Mayo Monkey. That one's just silly. Saltine Snake, you know? But cracker's been used and it's working, right? That word is hitting a sore spot on people. And maybe some of them are overly sensitive, right? But it's working, and now it's being used to intentionally be hateful to white people, right? That's it. It doesn't have any historical context other than like, how can we piss off white people? That's it. And so now Twitch is saying to expand it. That's the whole thing. Is it as bad as any other slur? No, of course not. Right? But I said it before. Just because pissing on the floor isn't as bad as smearing your shit on the wall doesn't mean you should piss on the floor. You know? So like that's pretty much it. And it's interesting that we're so offended by this. It's like, you know, okay, it's a bad word, let's not use it. But we're being very desperate to justify, like Hasan is so desperate to justify the usage of that word. It's incredible to me because it's really dumb. It doesn't really matter. It's not like a huge, just don't use that word. Just don't say any of them. It's really not like a super complex thing. That's what it really boils down to. It's the word is symbolic of just desperately trying to hate white people and succeeding in upsetting enough of my people for it to start being something that needs to be a problem. So the social experiment like worked. People are upsetting white people. That's it. Not really that deep. I know this is the problem. A lot of you guys want a really deep answer. Not really that deep. It's just a bad boy word, and you shouldn't say it. Pretty much it. That's pretty much it, man. So hopefully now you understand. Even if you disagree, at least now you understand.
Just you're being mean. It's a pejorative. I don't want to hurt anyone's fucking feelings. I understand that people want to feel oppressed. People want to feel like
it's a Mountain Dew case.
Systemic issue.
There's a monster in it. AdSense.
Issues that hold them back, that it's outside of their control, and that is true. If you're a white person, it's not on the virtue of your whiteness, okay? Like saying fat cats is a slur against rich people. It fucking worked really hard to get there. You should call them people of means or people of wealth. Son, you can insult people for anything and choose race.
Well, okay.
Dude, I'm not insulting people for race. Shut the fuck up, dude. This is the worst and most idiotic fucking take I hear from so many people who absolutely fucking refuse to see any other kind of argument other than you're insulting me for my race.
All you really need to do is throw an A at the end of that and it'll be totally fine. Cracker.
There's a reason why the overwhelming majority of like normal fucking human beings who don't spend their every moment on Twitch or on
I've heard you say the R word, but cracker isn't okay with you. Okay. I'm not going to Hasan you because I'm better than that. All right. I have said it before, right? I've said that word before and I'm struggling to get it. I'm getting it out of my vocabulary. I'm not struggling. I've gotten it out of my vocabulary. I want you to understand something. If I said the R word and Twitch turned around and banned me for a day, I would be 100% fine and understandable of that. I come from like a fucking old gamer country where like shitty words were acceptable online. And so like I'm policing myself because like I know I have to not be such a shitty person. But like this isn't about that. Like I'm not saying yes, ban the C word. I'm saying I get why they're doing it. That's all I'm saying. Like that's what I'm saying. Same thing with the R. If they banned the R slur, that's a great thing. I would understand why they're saying. I wouldn't care. You get what I'm saying? Like those are two kind of like the way you presented it as if I was like the staunch defender of using ableist slurs on my stream. And I'm not. But you know, I have ADHD and Tourette's, so I'm allowed to say that I got the R pass. So fuck you, dude. Don't tell me how to use my fucking word, bro. Don't tell me how to use my fucking word, bro. Sorry. Ooh. Bro, my coughs feel so much better after I've been on my inhaler. Like
fucking Reddit laugh whenever someone, including like Tom Segura and numerous other comedians that have made jokes about this. There's a reason why people laugh when you say cracker or honky or numerous other things, because making fun of the ultimate majority that is a constantly expanded concept. Like being white is conditional, okay? It is a made up concept that was built around purity. It is a made up concept built around fucking purity. You understand? When you're white, it means you're part of the dominant group. That's why when Irish people were
well, not so much anymore. And the reason I'll say that is because like Jewish people didn't used to be white. German people didn't used to be white. Right, I guess. So like I'm like Jewish, so you could consider me non-white. Now it's just really it's slowly shifting to just what you like look like. The fundamental concept, like I get what he's saying. I'm not trying to be like contrarian, but it's like it's slowly changing. The purity thing is changing, I guess, at least in the north. So now it kind of just like is a thing that exists, right? Because we're calling mixed people, like mixed like black and white kids, white more and more every day. Especially in black communities. That's a whole issue in and of itself. But you get what I'm saying? Like everything's kind of shifting, you know, that power focus isn't necessarily being there. So
oppressed. They were oppressed because they were not white, but then they became white. When Italian people were oppressed, they were oppressed on the virtue of being not white, and then they were considered white. Same with Polish people, same with Greek people, same with Jewish people. Whiteness as a concept is ever expanded.
We should have never let Italian people become white, by the way.
This is precisely why when you are countering the dominant concept, when you say something about it, you're not actually fucking telling someone on the virtue of their fucking race that they are bad or wrong.
Let's just make black people white. Done. Black. Let's just make everybody brown, because we're actually all shades of brown. So
are criticizing the dominant in-group. And because of that, it is impossible for you to criticize the dominant in-group.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's the weirdest thing I think is that this is the hill he wants to die on. It seems like such a weird thing. Even if you disagree with me, like this is weird. Like move, it's not that big of a deal.
In a way that is
Tan, all tan. Okay.
beyond my feelings are hurt. Not only that, but cracker in its application is used towards it's to imply.
Papa, I'm mixed, and all my friends say I'm white. It's really frustrating. Yeah, I get that, bro. Because I feels like they're erasing like your like mixed side or like whatever ethnicity there. I fucking get that, brother. I understand that.
Whip cracker. Okay, so do you think it's better if you said to a person, "Wow"?
Yeah, Hasan is acting like the white kid after he just got banned for saying the N-word on Xbox Live. Yeah, kinda.
Oh, that is a whip.
Yes, just have babies with POC. We'd all be gray. Yep.
Cracker right there, or a Nazi, or a slaver. Is that less
BIPOC people? You can't include black or indigenous people and people color. It erases them too much. Just keep that in mind. Okay.
directional towards white people? Is that what you would? I assume you would not consider that to be a bannable offense. No one is.
What is he saying? I'm tuning out. Like,
Application is used towards it's to imply whip criticize the dominant in-group in a way that is anything beyond my feelings are hurt. Not only that, but cracker in its application is used towards it's to imply whip cracker. Okay, so do you think it's better if you said to a person, "Wow, that is a whip cracker right there," or a Nazi, or a slaver? Is that less directional towards white people? Is that what you would? I assume you would not consider that to be a bannable offense. No one is using for whip cracking person anymore, though. No, of course not. Just like Nazi is not a fucking member of the National Socialist Workers Party. Okay, you are currently making that person is not literally a Nazi because it's not 1938 argument to defend the fucking the utilization of the application of the word cracker. That's precisely what you're arguing right now. Well, actually,
this is why politics is fucking stupid. It's just a whole day of just like fucking gaslighting the fuck out of people and just reprogramming your audience to think insanely. Just like, bro, not everything's that deep. You know, spread love, not hate, bro. Flowers in your guns. You know what I'm saying? Fucking, positive vibes, bro. This is why politics is dumb, because you can't take like a quick L and move on. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, you know what? Here's what I think. Blah blah. Not as bad of a word, but okay, we don't want to use it anymore. It's a no word. Oh well, you know what I'm saying?
that person is not a Nazi. They're not literally Hitler. Yeah, I know. I'm terrified. I feel as though we are back to the 2016, 2017 era of the internet almost. It's a little terrifying to see so many people not recognize this. And I get it, dude. I get it. Like, I have lost a lot of good favor. I've lost a lot of good standing within this community, not my own personal community, but within the Twitch community for all of my horrible actions that slowly but surely chipped away at my brand, I guess, quote unquote, bought a house, Twitch income leaked. And every single time, every single one of those controversies kept, taking 1,000 people here, 1,000 people there. And there's a very diligent group of individuals who recognize that and continuously are playing a part in actively undermining me and saying that I'm wrong. Part of the reason
now it's a conspiracy. Maybe your criticisms are just correct against you, some of them. You know what? Maybe you could chat about it. Does Blackbird make content? I don't know, but I gotta reach out to Blackbird because he's a good fucking guy. Maybe I shouldn't do like a thing with him, like a fucking, I don't know, because I've actually missed Blackbird. He's a fucking real one, bro. He was a good guy. He was fun. I miss Blackbird.
Reason why they do this is because they despise me. Part of the reason why they do this is because they don't like what I'm saying. Part of the reason is because they're like, well, fuck this guy. He's wealthy. He's successful. I hate that. So now,
maybe part of it's because you're just wrong sometimes, brother. Maybe I think the biggest part of it is he's not willing to engage in a good faith conversation about it with somebody. That I think is the biggest part of it. Because I feel like that's the problem. Like, it's not like he allows himself to be monitored. Like, it's not like someone can be, and like, not anybody, like, obviously, who the fuck am I? Like, I'm like, I hate, like, well, Papa God, I deserve. No. Like, I'm sure there's somebody that's big, honestly, it's probably like Destiny, who should be able to come on and have like a good faith conversation about like what would be morally inconsistent in some capacity, or a conversation so that, like, even if Hasan still comes out on the other side agreeing with himself, people can go, I get where he's coming from. And like, at least he's willing to have a conversation about it. But he kind of just like yells and throws hatred at people when they criticize him, which means he's not open to any criticism.
This position, when we get to this position, opening up the can of worms that revolve around white fragility, ultimately is not going to.
And he's on stream 12 hours a day. Doesn't have to make it like a video. He could just be like, "Yeah, come on, let's have a chat about it, brother." Blah blah blue 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 blue. That's it. But he doesn't do that. I think that's what it is, man. He's just got too full of himself. So maybe he's right, but like, he's just so full of himself, and he won't talk to somebody that's big, that's like a good person. They hate each other. Well, you know what, bro? Spread love, not hate, brother. Don't hate each other. You know what I'm saying, dude? Just smooch.
Is not going to allow people to see what I'm saying in the most open-minded approach. This is worse than the Gusano debate. Yeah, because the Gusano thing was a totally made-up, fabricated thing that most people had no fucking clue about. That's why it didn't have a lot of staying power. Whereas Cracker hits a lot of people directly at the fucking heart. They think, whoa, what the fuck? This person hates white people. The amount of people that I've seen on the
Well, there you go. If it hits a lot of people in the heart, then you kind of proven that a lot of people are upset by it. Blah, 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 blah. There we go.
Internet that say I am literally racist towards white people is fucking insane. You genuinely have sometimes bad takes. This spoiled white brat, and you take it way too personally. You get called out on it. I don't think it's a bad take. This is something I believe in, and not only that, but also insane. You
generally sometimes have bad takes, and you take it personally. Yeah, well, that's just a general thing that they're saying, not just here.
sometimes bad takes, this spoiled white brat, and you take it way too personally when you get called out on it. I don't think it's a bad take. This is something I believe. And not only that, but also people have to recognize it. Like, yeah, I'm a hard-headed motherfucker, for sure. But I always apologize. If there isn't, and I have a million times over, I apologize to black members of my community with the Nicki Minaj shit, even though what I said, I don't think was that offensive or offensive at all. There have been many instances.
Sometimes I apologize, but I don't mean it. That's what he just said. He's like, I even with the Nicki Minaj thing, which I don't even know what the fuck he's talking about. Even if I don't really believe what I'm saying, I still apologize. I'm like, okay, it's not really apology, son. That means that you just care about the conversation so little that you're willing to just say, yeah, okay. That's what it means. That's all it is, brother. That's not really groovy, brother. What are you talking about, dude?
This is where I've apologized for hurting people's feelings, even if I think the other side is completely illogical. This is not one of those instances, okay? I want you to understand, if I am to take you seriously, white people in my community that genuinely and legitimately think that, like, cracker is offensive or cracker is attacking you personally, it's not, okay? I'm not. I do not have a problem with you at all. I am not an anti-white racist. I can't even believe that I have to specify this. It seems ridiculous to even, like, consider that framing as a serious type of framing. I don't understand why you think it's okay to shit on someone for just being white like Max. Someone wasn't shitting on Max for being white. They were shitting on him for being a fucking asshole. The framing non-personal argument can be said for the N-bomb too. No, it can't, because there's a difference between... Okay, I'm just gonna ban him and move on, because I have already described this a million times over. You're saying N-bomb, N-word, but you're saying cracker, okay? So automatically, no. And the reason for why no, not the same, is because historical context associated with dehumanizing and subjugating people and justifying that subjugation through things like saying the N-word, okay? That does not happen to white people while using the terminology cracker. Even the word cracker itself still comes from whip cracking, okay? I've described this a million times over. A lot of you don't want to hear this because you just want to feel like you're
This entire chat is arguing about something no one cares about. Well, I really just want to kiss the son. Okay, that's fair.
being oppressed. It's just the reality, okay? Sorry, and I know that sucks to hear. If you want to fucking feel like you're oppressed, you are already being oppressed. You're not being oppressed because you're white, though. You're being oppressed because you're a worker. You're being oppressed because you were born into a poorer family than a fucking billionaire or a millionaire's family. That's why you're gonna eat your boss's shit for the rest of your fucking life, okay? And there's pretty much nothing you can do about it because every single person is going to tell you that this is the best design for a system. This is the best, most appropriate way to fucking survive. But if you're gonna fucking sit here and...
It's a pretty good design for a system. I believe in a universal basic income to do some wealth redistribution, give people other options, get them off the conditional welfare programs that really honestly have, I think, overall worse impact because they don't really strengthen communities. They just stagnate them. They don't really provide job opportunities, where UBI would actually be a really great incentive specifically for small business, take away some of the power from large business, not put so much financial burden on the small business. Some kind of universal healthcare would be great too, because that's very pro-business as well. There's people who would be able to step away from their oppressive jobs and go like, you know what, fuck you. I'll live off $1,000 a month for a little bit, and then I'll find a better job that'll treat me better. It gives people tons of negotiating like power. There's a lot there with like how UBI would work really well. Nothing's perfect. I know people's first thing to go to is like, well, what about rent? What about shitty assholes who will raise the rent? Fucking rent control. I don't care. Like, fuck you. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's things we could do. I'm just saying, I don't think like a fundamental shift. I don't think it's bad to unionize everybody. I think that's Hasan's thing. I don't really know. But I think that it's for America, it's not really going to work. We're a very mixed group of people, all with different like general priorities. Like other countries, and I know they're white, but it's not because they're white. It's because they're very like homogeneic. Is that what you say? Homogeneous. They have like a lot of like-minded people. They're people who are usually, it's not even just about being white. They grew up in the area. They don't have a lot of immigration necessarily. So they're all on very much the same page. We have a very mixed group of people. So I think that UBI works really, and you could see that because we're very divided. So we all have different like mental pathways to different things, but fundamentally it's more about like control over yourself. And I think UBI is great because it's just the simplest way to redistribute wealth rather than like putting in a bunch of different welfare programs, which again might work in another country because people have very like similar minded things, but we're very diverse here, and I think a very simple UBI would work better. That's pretty much it, bro.
But like, people are being oppressed because people are using the term cracker. Well, then, I'm sorry. I'm not going to fucking tell you that that's the reality. Calling someone whip.
Yeah, I don't know if it is because of the cracker whip thing. I think it might be just because of we look white. I don't know.
Cracker when they aren't is just weird, bro. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. It's like saying calling someone a Nazi when they're not literally part of the fucking Nazi party is weird, bro. Yeah.
Well, you know what's weird is like, bringing that down. Let's say that's the truth. Calling someone a cracker is calling them like a slave master. Why would you want to be a slave master? Like that offends me like that fundamentally. Like if somebody came up to me and said, "You're a fucking slave master whipping black people," I would be like, "That I'm really genuinely offended by that." I could understand if people are associated with that. I would be genuinely offended too. Why would you be? It's weird that you would be okay with being called somebody who beats black people, because I wouldn't want to be that thing. I wouldn't want to be associated with that thing, right? And I'm not associated with that thing. So like, yeah, actually, that makes sense as to why people get offended by the word cracker. It's weird that we live in a world that it says, "Hey, understand that you're a racist white person," and then when white people get offended for being called a racist unjustifiably, you tell them that they should just shut the fuck up. Oh. Just saying, bro. Just saying.
I know. It hurts your fucking feelings most likely, okay? And sometimes it can be misappropriated or misused, but ultimately it's not the same as a fucking hateful, bigoted slur. That's the whole point. Hateful, bigoted slurs without historic or contemporary oppression are just meanie bobini words, okay? They're making you feel bad. Maybe.
Yeah, so... Yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine that he got banned. I don't really care. It's not like it's gonna hurt him. He's the upper class. He's literally the oppressive class. So